Welcome to the Creative Crafters podcast. I have a very special guest today from Creative Ramblings, Sarah Vanderkooy. And her company is Creative Ramblings, and she's been making colorful crafts and simple projects that are easy to follow, inspiring listeners like you to create at home. Now, she is on YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok. She is everywhere, but you are going to be totally blown away by what she has to offer and what she's going to provide inside the summit as well. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Creative Ramblings and how it started and how you got interested in doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So about 11 years ago now, which feels like such a long time ago, I was a stay-at-home mom with my new baby and I started selling things on Etsy. I've always been a crafter and I was selling handmade cards and little gifts and things on Etsy. And I thought, I wonder if I could start a blog to promote my Etsy shop. And so I did. And not too long after that, I realized that I really enjoyed the blogging part of this almost more than I enjoyed the Etsy side of it. I found that people were finding my site and wanting to learn how to make the things I was sharing. And I really have a love of teaching people and inspiring people. So I still have an Etsy shop, but I've kind of went the way of the blog. And I have been teaching and inspiring people how to craft for 10 years.
Well, that is absolutely amazing because, once you get into crafting, it's like, okay, can I make this? Where are we going with this? So that
Yep.
kind of brings up a question is when you're imagining a project that you want to make and show other people how to do it, where do you get your inspiration?
Oh, sure. You're a fellow crafter too, an artist. My inspiration can come from anywhere. Right now, I'm in a place where the seasons are changing, the leaves are changing colors, and just seeing those beautiful colors outside going to inspire a palette for me or something that I want to create. I am also quite a frugal person. And so when I'm going through the aisles of my favorite stores and I see something that is beautiful and I would love it in my home, but it might be a little out of my price range, I immediately think, how can I make my own version of that at home? So that really inspires me too.
Yeah, exactly. So you must have a little process for reverse engineering, as I call it,
Yep.
because
Yep.
we do that on a constant basis. I was recently um, on a vacation and there were paper objects made out of paper and all kinds of folds. And I
Mhm.
just took tons of pictures. So I'm assuming you will take pictures of different things. And so
Yes.
what do you go through when you try to reverse engineer those things that you like to make? What are you looking for? Sort of, we want the details.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a lot of craft tech, as I like to call it. So I've got, the Cricut, I work with a laser, I work with a lot of other tools. And so when I see something I like, I think, what tools do I already have that I can use to recreate that? Maybe if it's a piece of large artwork, I think, can I recreate that with craft paint, something I'm really comfortable with? So I always go back to what supplies and tools do I have at my disposal? And then how can I recreate that project using what I know how to do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people have, we're focusing on Cricut on a lot of our projects.
Mm-hmm.
However, the Cricut is only a tool, like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, that we can
Mm-hmm.
add different tools. So what types of tools do you work with in your business besides using a Cricut to maybe cut or score something?
Absolutely. So I use a Cricut as a tool. So once we have the idea and you know what you want to make, that tool can just make it work faster. So I do use my Cricut, and I've gotten into laser cutting and engraving, which again is another tool that I use. Um, I work a lot with paints and markers and colorful pens, that type of thing. There are a lot of really neat techniques that you can recreate with just simple art supplies like that. You don't always have to go down the road of the most expensive or the nicest thing out there. Those inexpensive paints from the craft store sometimes work just fine.
Yeah, that brings up another thing, and being frugal with your supplies. Yes, you can
Mm-hmm.
buy the most expensive, and sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
may be what I call a different quality from what you will find, but they can serve the same purpose. So I also
Hmm.
can assume, or maybe I should not assume, that you do a dollar store trek from time to time.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm a big fan of the dollar store or Dollar Tree specifically. I love all of their craft items. I think Dollar Tree specifically has made crafting so much more accessible to so many people. As much as we'd love to go buy that really expensive piece of decor or get the latest, tool or supplies, sometimes you can go into Dollar Tree, you can get your paint, your brushes, your canvas, and all the embellishments you need for $10 to make a project. And that's something I really try to do on my blog and on my YouTube channel is just help my viewers figure out where they can get inexpensive but good quality supplies and then create something really beautiful that they're going to be proud of.
Yeah, really important because I find that a lot of Cricut users, some of them still have them in the box. I mean, that's one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest things they're afraid to take out of the box, but they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking that they're going to break it or something else with it. And we mentioned it as a tool. So maybe you can help our listeners understand that it is a tool and not sort of the end piece that you're going to be using.
Absolutely. If everybody has a creativity streak in them, I think some people are just worried that, oh, I won't be able to do that or it won't turn out well. So one of the things I really try to do is just encourage people to just give it a try and use what's at your disposal, and you're going to be proud of what you make. But once you have that idea, open up your Cricut, take it out of the box, go on YouTube, watch videos, learn what you can, and then just start creating. So it's a very durable machine. You're not going to break it. And there's a lot of inspiration within Cricut and design space, but then people like you and I share a lot of inspiration, so people can really get started.
Yeah, and that's an important part is the word get started.
Mhm.
Now, because you go through crafting all the time, so there must be some challenges that you hit that I would love you to share that with our listeners.
Absolutely. So I've been crafting my whole life. I can think back to when I was a little kid and using my markers and crayons, and I love just creating. I use it now as an adult. I use it as a way to kind of unwind and relax. Um, However, my job is I'm a full-time content creator. I love what I do because it means I get to create content about crafts, and it's really fun and I love it. The challenge I have is that sometimes I don't get to do the crafting as a relaxing technique anymore. It's work. So I really have to set boundaries for myself and go, this is my work time, like we all do. It's my work time. And then sometimes I will go craft and I don't share it with the world. It is just for me to create and enjoy and relax. So I think that's probably my biggest challenge.
Yeah, carving out that extra time. Now, I notice a lot of the listeners and some of the questions we've been asking them have been talking about, oh, I just don't have the time to do this. I
Mm.
just don't have the time to do this. So, do you have any special help for them and carving out their own time?
Absolutely. So anytime we want to have a hobby in our life, maybe it's crafting, maybe it's hiking, whatever you want it to be, you do have to make the time. But crafting doesn't have to take hours. It doesn't have to take a whole weekend. If you have a project in mind, get the supplies out, carve out that time, dedicate it, and go for it. And if you don't finish it in that time you have, set it aside and come back to it the next day or the next weekend when you do have time. But even if it's 30 minutes, that's enough. Sometimes for me, just that process of, making something on my Cricut or painting something on a canvas, even if it's 20 minutes, it is so soothing, it's away from all the chaos of work and it's just relaxing and enjoyable.
Sort of a stress releaser for sure.
Yes.
I've been
Yes.
seeing a lot of articles lately about using crafting as a stress release. So,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to get our listeners to move from being stressed about using this to
Yes.
let's relax, let's enjoy it, let's watch the
Yep.
videos and follow it step by step so that
Hmm.
you too can. And a lot of people won't get started because they're perfectionists as well. So
Yes.
any advice in that area?
You got to let it go. It is so hard to let go. Chances are, if you watch one of my videos and you aim to make exactly what I made, it's not going to turn out the same. It's just not, and that's okay. Just embrace the fact that your end result isn't going to be perfect, and it's probably not going to look like the example. And that's okay. It's going to be unique. It's going to have your own touch, and you're going to be proud of it because you made it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't recall any one thing that I've made that is perfect yet.
Yeah,
And I've
same.
been doing
Yep.
this for years as well. So
Yeah.
perfection doesn't happen. Uniqueness happens.
Yes,
So I guess we have
exactly.
to look at it that way.
Exactly.
So I asked you about the challenge, but what's the most rewarding aspect of your career as sort of a crafter, craft blogger right
Hmm.
now?
I don't think it's any one moment, but my goal is to teach and inspire. And I've been doing a lot of videos lately on breaking down really technical things. So, technical ways to use your Cricut or your laser or your heat press, whatever it is. And when I get a comment or a message from a viewer that something clicked for them, that my video really helped them understand how to use this tool, or it just got them to take that next step, that is so rewarding. That's why I do what I do. Like you said earlier, I don't want somebody to keep their Cricut in their box. It's not doing anybody any good there. But get it out, watch my videos. I'm going to show you how to use it. And then when it clicks, that's just immensely rewarding.
Yeah, that is so fantastic. I'm so happy that you have come along and be part of our summit and be part of this interview series. So, one last question is, how
Sure.
do listeners get a hold of you? If you can just spell it, we'll make sure it goes below the video at the same time. But if you can just tell people how to get a hold of you and where to go to watch some of your videos, learn from you, and read your blog.
Absolutely. A great place to start is at creativeramblingsblog.com. That is my main website with all of my tutorials on it. And from there, there's links directly to my YouTube channel. And you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest. Creative Ramblings is my handle on all of my social channels.
Absolutely fantastic. Our guest today has been Sarah Vanderkooy of Creative Ramblings. And thank you, Sarah, for being our guest.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.